Hey everybody, one more time, it's Lynn Rene MacDonald for 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive tonight, every Friday night at 7:15, right? So, thank you for coming. We had to kind of redo it. We're having some technical difficulties. We got like a storm here. So we're going to do our show and hopefully you guys all start to show up. We just came on and then we lost it and now we're on again. So it's kind of crazy. There seems to be like a big glowing light and I'm just trying to turn that and I'm just going to get things a little bit fixed because my sister was fucking with the light again, you know? I'm just like, Jesus, God in heaven, right? All right, so I'm doing some sage here. So tonight's show is from the Institute for Christ Consciousness and the Copper Dragon. We have people live here tonight. We have Sophia, we have Jennifer, we have Rachel, me. Normally we have a lot more people tonight though, but the weather is kind of rough. Just like last week it snowed, so we're having some snow, and which is rare for Virginia Beach. I swear to God, it's been so crazy the weather this year here. It's been extremely cold and more snow than we've had in years here, right? So tonight's show, we come to you live from the Institute for Christ Consciousness every Friday night at 7:15, right, for 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive. And this show is designed from higher knowing of God or love to help and assist you with whatever questions you want to bring in that have anything and everything to do with your health, be it happiness, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, health of a friend, health of a pet, right? Addiction issues, anxiety, rheumatoid arthritis, right? Autoimmune disorders, diseases, all right? Plus everyday sicknesses, ailments, anything that you can think of that has to do with health that you want to ask, here is the forum, okay? All guided by higher knowing of God or love to help and assist everybody, right? So tonight's show, this is what we're doing. It usually runs an hour at least, or to an hour and 15 minutes. It's not as long as our Friday night shows. Everybody's showing up, and thank you for coming, guys. And it's on donation. So however you want to donate or give or help to keep us going, if you love what we do, or share with your people, share with your friends, tell people what we do so we can help and get the God's honest truth out to everybody, right? So it's been a hell of a week. Here we are at the shopping center. Thank you guys all for coming. We're going to have a great show tonight. I got some wildly cool stuff, right, to share with you tonight. As always, I'm always talking to God, and this is where we get our answers. Anything I can do, you can do, okay? All you have to do is talk with love and be in your heart and listen and do, right? Okay, so we're on Facebook here. You can catch the reruns as well on our YouTube or on my YouTube, which is Lynn Rene MacDonald Practical Spirituality Live. You can catch all the replays of all of our shows. And then we also, I have some exciting news, right? We also have another show, which is on Sunday nights, which most of you know about. It's our live talk forum at 7:15 on Sunday nights, where you can ask any and all questions and bring everything that you want to the table. And we also use all the gifts of love, energy, or God. We work with astrology. We work with the highest form of consciousness or love, which is Christ consciousness, to get you the answers, right, from this space, okay? So that said, I'm going to tell you a little secret right now, all right? Some shit has gone on this week that is fucking crazy, right? It's been a hell of a week, right? And what I'm going to share with you is that I think there's going to be probably a third and fourth show. One is going to be like a healing show. We're going to like do clearings and stuff like that, all guided by higher knowing and love, right? But this other one that came in just this week, and I think we've talked about the healing show, right? But we haven't put a name on it or whatever. So yet, right? So when God starts to tell me, or universe starts to tell me, or angels or love starts to tell me the names of things and what's going on and what's coming, right? Then it's time, right? So the healing aspect of it, we haven't gotten to that title yet, but it's coming, right? And the other thing, so you guys know, is that our next show, right, that we're looking into doing is going to be called David and Goliath with Lynn Rene MacDonald. Why? Because this is a world where the toxic has gone fuck nuts and the little guy has no help. So this future show is going to be about you bringing your shit to us, and we're going to help you win the battle. That's right. Because as long as you're in your heart and you're doing the right thing from love, That's how it works, okay? So this is for everybody to know into the future. We're thinking about, I asked Spirit today, and they're like Saturday nights. I'm like, fuck, that's my whole weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? I'm like, what the hell, right? But when you do what you love, and you listen to Spirit or God or love, you follow your heart and you do it, magical things happen, right? I can go out any other day of the week, and then I have my regular classes, and it's a lot. So if I have to pray, clear, heal, and change anything, then I'm going to ask God for those things. So get ready, because this is going to be about lawsuits and taxes and divorces and who's going to get the kids and crazy shit like that we're going to help you with. But the key to our new show, right, is about David and Goliath. It's where the little guy stands up against the big guy. But what is that with? With the power of God. How cool is that shit? But the key to that is being in your heart, right? Which is the new world, right? The new world is being in your heart, working with love, and being authentic in who you are, right? And working with love, working with God. So the David and Goliath show is going to be about people who want assistance, who feel like they're powerless, who have no help, right? Or feel like they don't have anybody in their court, or can't find a lawyer and can't get the help that they need, or whatever it is, right? With power, love, energy, and magic of God, or same thing, right? You can do anything, and anything I can do, you can do. So this forum, this new forum, is designed to help everybody with all of their issues and problems, right? And this is what I do in my everyday life anyways, right? I have to deal with my own shit when somebody's not doing the right thing from love. But here's the ass kicker, right? And I've worked with many clients, and I've solved huge problems. I helped with the power of God or love, right, to help all of these people. I've had people who, unfortunately and fortunately, right, because the truth of God is you got to be straight up with yourself from love, and you have to be honest, right? What's the God's honest truth, God? What is it that I need, right? So the truth is, all right, that you have to be honest with yourself and honest with me and honest with God, right? Because you can't fool God. So if you come here to this new show, David and Goliath, right, with Lynn Rene MacDonald, right? It's so funny that it's called that, right? But it makes so much sense, right? That's what they're telling me to call it, right? So because this is about a world of toxic where the little guy has no power, and we're going to bring it back to them, okay? In multiple magical ways from love, right? Not anything shitty, guided by love. So if you need the best doctor, the best attorneys, the best people, the best solutions, the best of anything that you need, this is what we do anyways every day in life. So universe is guiding me to bring this to you live here so we can get to more people to help them in a world where nobody will stand up and do the right thing. And we need people who will do it, and we need to help each other, right? From love. But the bottom line is you have to be truthful, because I've had clients, all right, I have one in particular that I can think of without saying any names, okay? This person had a kid, and the kid had a lot of issues, right? A little boy, as a matter of fact. And we helped her, and we won the court case with a dad who was extremely abusive and toxic, right? But so what happened is, right, we brought her to this one point, and then it came back around, and she lost the second case. And I said to her, let's be honest here. The truth is you don't really want your kid, right? Because I can't win the case for you if your heart isn't really in it, or win the thing that you want, or get to the solution that you want from love, so to speak, right? And I hate to use the word win, because win implies, an energy of that, and I don't really, in earth world, right? So I would rather say solutions from love. But if you want things to work out in the best way from love to you, right? That's what I'm talking about here, right? So this girl, whom I love dearly, the truth is, on a subconscious level, she didn't really want her kid because her kid was toxic. It was too much for her, but she couldn't get honest with herself, and that's why she ended up losing her kid in the end, right? And I said to her over and over, and then she gave up and quit kind of like the spiritual path and does her own thing, but that's okay. But the truth is, you got to be honest with you and everything that you do in the new world, and with God itself, right? If you wonder why you don't win, or you don't have great things happen for you from love, it is because something in you is stopping it, okay? Think about this. right? Because this is truth of God. So I will help you and assist you, Spirit, God, through me, right? With higher knowing of love. That's going to be the new show. We'll let you know when it airs, but I wanted to take some time out tonight to tell you and share that with you because it's really fucking neat. It's kind of cool, you know? It's exciting, right? And I have some of my own stories. In fact, I have like at least 5 of my own shit that I'm dealing with in this arena. Right? And in due time, the truth will come out. Right? So it's coming. I'm sure many of you know already a lot of these things, right? Because you're intuitive yourselves, right? And you watch and you follow my stuff, or you come to our shopping center and you're my personal people, or even here on the internet, you watch our shows all the time, or you work with me online or over the phone, right? So you already know, many of you, all about what I'm talking about. But we live in a toxic world, and that's why God or universe or love is guiding me to this. So it's kind of like back in the 60s, I think it was the 60s, there was a show called Underdog, right? And Underdog used to come to the rescue of everybody. Same thing, David and Goliath, right? David and Goliath, if you know the story, it's right there in the Bible. It's with the power of God, right? David beats the giant, right? Think about that. Yeah, when nobody else thinks that they can do it. Right? This is about faith. This is about love. This is about doing the right thing. This is about being in your heart. And this is what the new world is about, man. The new world. So I'm super excited. And let's get on with our medical intuitive shit, because I got really cool stuff to share with you tonight. My own personal journey, which has everything to do with everybody's health, because this is what we do. Okay, so who's up first, Jen? We're going to take your questions now.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Sherry Sexton Walter wants to know if you see anything coming up about her health.
All right, Sherry, can you tell me a little bit about your birthday, if possible? I'm going to ask God for the God's honest truth. When you say about your health, the first thing that comes in is what if you're having any issues, right? What kind of issues are you having? When I get in your space right now, what I feel like is the energy is swirling. And you're like, what is coming up in my health in the future, right? Most people don't normally ask that question, right? Maybe it's the way that you're wording it and in communication, right? Or how you communicate, because we don't say, oh, what's coming up for my health? Usually you would say, thanks God for the best health. So when I get in that energy of your soul with all of this, it feels chaotic. It feels like you're a little bit wigged out and wondering what, like almost like a fear state of what is coming for you. So not unlike last week with what we talked about with, I think it was last week, but with having fear, right? And again, the fear space is very more often than not associated with intellectual and associated with your air signs in astrology. So people in a healthy space, right, would ask in a way that they would be creating something to happen. Like, what's going on with my health? Like, when am I going to have a baby? Or thanks for me having a baby? Or thanks for me having the best health? But they wouldn't say, what's coming for my health in the future? That's like saying, am I going to get cancer? What's going to happen to me? So there's some Virgonian energy, right, in this, which is a health thing, and it's pessimistic, right? So this is some energies that behooves us to clear out. My sister's doing some crazy shit with her hair, like, it's crazy. So anyway, she does this. It's that crazy Leo energy, right? Okay, so
I do have Sherry's birthday.
Oh, you do? What is it? Cool.
9/25/62.
Not. Oh my God! Right. 9/25. 9/25, right?
Yeah, September 25.
Virgo,
right?
I think.
What?
Virgo.
Yeah. Virgo. Holy shit!
And she writes, laugh out loud. I did it wrong.
All right. Well, what is it then?
I did word it wrong.
No, she said she did word it wrong. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I don't understand. What are you saying?
Her first question, I believe, is what she's referencing.
What? Okay, so she worded it wrong. What she wanted to ask. All right, we're having a bit of a confusing moment here. Nobody knows what's going on. It's communication.
I'm just saying she's agreeing with you, I feel like.
Okay, so I'm going to ask God to clear, heal, and change all of this, but the best way to be from love, and let us all understand each other, the best communication, the best gifts, the God's honest truth, and the best way to communicate, and knowing of all things from love, God's honest truth of it, in the best way for us to know something better now, please. Clear our blocks with all of this, but the best way to be from love, and release all of this emotionally with all this now, please, from love in the purest form. And thanks, God, for that for us. Okay, so that said, if your birthday, her birthday is in fact 9/25, Okay, 9/25, if I'm not mistaken, Virgo, the last day of Leo and the first day of Virgo is 9/23. So that is the cusp of the last day of I think Virgo, right? Not Virgo, is it Virgo? Virgo into, because Libra starts on the 23rd, right? So what this means is the 23rd of September, I believe that your Libra cusp starts, the Libra starts, and the cusp is right there. So what does this mean? It means that you are a Libra Virgo cusp baby, right? So you're a perfectionist. So this literally lends itself to that, hold on a minute, pessimistic behavior, or when I say behavior, or habits and patterns, or energy, right? I have Mars in Virgo, right? So I'm always being the perfectionist and getting to the bottom of things. So anybody who has any prominent Virgo placements is going to have some of this in them, right? So what does Virgo do? They're kind of pessimistic. But the girls were saying here, my associates and my people here are saying that you worded the question wrong. So I'm going to ask them again so I make sure that I clarify this, but we're also going to clear all of this out so that we are free of any and all kinds of toxic with this. Thank you, God, for that for us. And we get to the God's honest truth, right? So you're seeing us in action, how we handle everything every day. When there's a challenge or we don't understand something, we ask God, we ask love, we change these things, we create the best way to be from love. Thanks God for that for us always. Okay, so what was her question? Did you guys understand?
Like, basically, she's just saying that she agreed with everything that you said about how she worded the original question.
Okay. That's what I'm asking. Okay, terrific. So that said, this is a pessimistic thing. Like I have a friend of ours who works with us, and her name is Laura. Laura, you know who you are, right? And she's so funny because sometimes, man, her Virgo shit gets the better of her, and she's and it's like, well, fuck. So you know what I mean? It's the same thing. This Virgo energy does this same thing. It's pessimistic. It's kind of like, oh, whoa, what's going to happen to me? Right? A lot of times you'll have a sense of humor as well. That's a little bit sarcastic or pessimistic, you know. So these things are some of it's for really funny and funky, right? Because you'll say shit comedian wise to make people laugh, right? And it's funny, but it's definitely Virgonian, pessimistic, and really hysterical. A lot of stuff. I do the same thing sometimes with my Mars in Virgo. So anytime you have some powerful placements all throughout your chart and in your soul and astrology, you're going to have those things. So overall, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the universe, love, God, to release and free and clear and heal and change all the energies, emotional and all that they are, that are this energy in you, that put it out there like that, or almost has like an underlying fear mode. Because I feel like this is mixed with some air sign. And here's the funny shit, is that you're half Libra, half Virgo. There's your air, and there's your Virgo, your earth, air and earth, right? So these are those two signs. And this stuff will come out and wash over everything in your chart and in your sun sign and everything that is you, right? In the energy, right? So everything will have some of this influence, right? But whatever houses you have things in, or more predominant placements and aspects of this in your astrology, it will create more powerful and intense aspects and in certain areas in your life, in your chart, right? Like the third house is about communication, like we talked about today a little bit here. All right, the third house is communication, travel, short-term travel, you're thinking, you're talking, right? That's Mercury, right? And Mercury retrograde, is going to fuck that up somewhat, right? So this all said, I'm going to ask God for the best clearing, healing, changes, releases for you with all of this and for all of us. Thank you, God, for that for us in our souls and when we are, be, say, do, and create, and in all that it is, from love in the purest form, and put the best way to be from love in the purest form in place of this in our souls, and in all we are, be, say, do, and create, and in all that it is, in the best way for us to learn something better. And thank you, God, for that for us. Okay, so this is what excuse me, comes in for that for us. I got my cell salts here today, so I'm going to do some cell salts because we still have this congestion. I feel like some of it's left over from this flu thing we had last week. I'm just going to ask universe, what's the number I need? Okay, and they're telling me for my congestion what would be best for me right now, right? This is all part of what we do, right? Ask God for the answers. Ask God for the God's honest truth, right? Okay, that said, I'm going to take my little cell salt here. Okay, so when you say what's coming for your health, I don't really feel like there's anything bad or toxic really coming for you. It doesn't mean that you can't create it in this Virgo thing, but you got a thing like I got going on, the woe is me, like, or the fear of, oh my God, what if my health isn't well? What if something could happen to me? So we're just going to ask God to clear, heal, and change all of this emotionally and in all ways, just like we just did. Excuse me. Along with all of this, and thank you, God, for that for us. But the best way to be from love. And thank you, God, for this for us, this gift for us now, please, of clearing, healing, change, and creation in our souls and in all we are, be, say, do, and create, and all that it is, in the best way for us to know something better. And thank you, God, for that for us. All right. So, yeah, I don't feel like there's anything major or toxic coming for you with your health. I don't. I feel like you feel pretty good, but I do feel that chaos that is out there that's wanting to grab something, right? So we ask God that we're free of that as well. Thank you, God, for that for us. Okay, so go ahead. What's the next question?
Well, those were some good clearings.
Those were great clearings, yeah. Those were great clearings for all of us because we all get the freak on. Freak meaning fear freaks us out, like OCD kind of shit, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Back in the day, I was like the queen of OCD. Oh my God. And if I can be well, guess what? You can be too. All of us can be, right? We just got to have the tools and the know-how to do it, right? Some stuff is everything is metaphysical, but some stuff, you need earth world stuff. Sometimes you need earth world medicine in terms of physical stuff like the cell salts and holistic stuff. But sometimes you also need traditional medicine like doctors and surgeons and their medicine too, right? As well as the main core of what is making everybody sick in the world hardcore is the metaphysical, right? The energy that runs in you creates everything, right? All right, so that said, what we got?
Teresa Courtney Lloyd said her oldest daughter, Shannon, is going through a rough patch with possible sinus infection. She said if that's what it is, it's the worst she has ever had. She says it's not COVID. Do you have any insights? Her birthday is October 14th.
Okay. All right, God, what's the God's honest truth about Teresa's? This is her oldest daughter? Yes?
Yes.
All right. What's going on with her and her sinuses? Okay. One of the things that that comes in really strong for her is she has massive inflammation, just like the rest of us. We have lots of toxic stuff going on. We have been poisoned basically through layers and layers and layers and layers of poisoning, right? Whether it's through plastics, whether it's through mold, whether it's through the shot shedding or through the shot itself. Okay. This is a chronic problem, plus toxins in foods, right? Chemicals in foods, okay? What is it they say? What was that one chemical, Monsanto company or something? Or
Monsanto's a big company.
Yeah. Monsanto, DuPont, right? People don't even realize. You can look up these places, these things that I'm telling you, right? Not places literally, but you can look these things up, right? Because they'll tell you, the history of some poisons, just like when, that are going on in the world and have been going on for quite some time now. And we think that we're fine. And, everything from, like people say, oh, the 5G shit, right? And cellular towers, to, chemtrails, all kinds of weird shit, right? Chemicals and toxic is toxic, right? And this is about not any one thing, but multiple things that are poisoning us in our world. And then we don't eat certain things. We eat certain things. We get it reacts or activates our immune system, right? And then we have all these problems, right? So what your daughter really has is like a chronic infection, right? Of in her mucous membranes and in her lymphatic system, right? In her sinuses, right? It's all throughout her body, right? So this is about detoxing, taking vitamins and minerals and having a whole system of solutions based on this stuff, right? So there's different ways that she can detox, right? If she wants to go down the route, we can talk more about it as well and get more in depth so we can pinpoint everything right to the T. But across the board, Teresa, you're a powerful healer and you can help her. But the bottom line, she needs to do it herself. In other words, she needs to want to do this, right? Okay. So this is about detoxing, taking a look at everything that's going on in your life, asking God for the God's honest truth. What is making me sick? What are the things? What do I need to address? What are the best ways to change this? What are my best tools? How do I deal with this, right? So this is about detoxing. This is about vitamins and minerals and herbs and different placements of different things that behooves her to have to detox in the healthiest, best way for her. But also, this is about looking at her diet, because the stuff you eat in your diet causes more inflammation, right? A friend of mine back in the day said something, and I'm sure many of you have heard of it, like the bread flu thing, or an associate, I shouldn't really say a friend. That's for another day. However, this person said to me, oh, did you ever hear it's like bread flu? I'm not feeling good. I'm really sick because I ate too much bread or gluten or wheat, right? So this is what's happening, all right? Your sinuses and everything, her sinuses are becoming inflamed. And it's a chronic inflammation, okay? So if you take away certain things, and when I say take away, when you get healthy and you detox and the toxic goes down, the symptoms change. The symptoms heal. When your body gets the vitamins, minerals, and herbs that it needs, as well as removes the inflammation from it, right? All these things work together to make you or her or whoever it is have their best health. But this is another stage in a whole chronic system of autoimmune disease, toxic, right? That comes in from us, living these lives where we're not even aware half the time of the toxic things that we're taking, like antibiotics, right? Sometimes you have to take those things, but it's about a healthy balance and being aware of what you're doing and what your body needs, right? And what it doesn't need. And is this really healthiest for me? And talking to God or love all the time. So this comes in as a chronic infection. I'm sure it's in her lungs with a coughing in a chest. It'll come in throat mucus. It'll come in all here. Just like you hear me like clearing my throat and coughing. And this is all parts of stuff like that induced by a variation. A part of it, a big chunk of it right now, as we discovered, is mold sickness, right? So this is no fucking joke, right? So this is just one more toxin on the list in the pile of toxins that now, and this is an ass kicker. This is like the COVID shot, this kind of toxin. This is like the shedding, right? This is like really hardcore toxins, right? That I have to now release from my body, right? And figure out the mystery of why this is happening with me, with God, right? But this is what I do. This is Mars and Virgo placements in the 8th house, right? This is Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio, right? In the 11th house, which is to help the people, right? So, and this is all thinking, communicating, right? Because it doesn't matter how gifted I am and what I know if I can't fucking communicate it to you. And if you don't like my show and I'm like this and I'm boring, you're not going to fucking listen. And especially if I'm not teaching the truth, the God's honest truth, or coming up with the best solutions for you from love, right? And if you know in your heart that it's not true, you're not going to do it, right? Okay. So all of these things said, any of these gifts I have, you have. Ask God, ask and you shall receive. But here's the best tools for her right now, right? That are coming in. Stuff for her lymphatic system, okay? Because she's on overload. Her digestive system is not working right. What does that mean? It's like you guys have all heard of like toxic gut, right? So there's leakage in there. So what will behoove her is digestive enzymes, and digestive enzymes when she eats meat as well. There's a special kind. What is that? What is the one we take? With HCI, right? And we use a brand called Pure. We love it, right? So this digestive enzymes to help you get the digestion that you need, because her intestinal tract, right, is not working properly, and she's having leakage into her blood system. And this is just the start of a whole bunch of autoimmune shit that is the God's honest truth about what's coming in for her. It's a variation of the same energies that I got, right? What we are is what we attract in our own special, unique way and variation, right? Based on the magic of the souls that we are, the good stuff and the unwellness. So this comes in for her. This toxic gut syndrome is responsible for so much stuff, but really it's because we got to get rid of the poisons. So we have to get rid of the inflammation. Liquid turmeric would be great for that, right? As well as getting rid of the inflammation. One of the biggest things she can do right now is change the stuff that's going on in her diet. Wheats, glutens, dairy, right? The more whole foods, the less chemicals, the less toxic stuff. All of this stuff is inflaming her more. If she takes a day, right? And here's like one of my favorite things is, yogurt drink, right? But here it is. It's in fucking plastic, right? So I have to think about how much plastic I'm doing and getting stuff, right? But I also have to remember that even though yogurt is good for many things, right? They tout and claim about putting flora and good bacteria, right? Using yogurt, natural yogurts and stuff back into your system, right? Which is good. But the issue is sometimes that's not so good for people who have massive issues right now going on in their sinuses, right? Because this is just going to congest you more ultimately, right? So at this stage, I wouldn't recommend dairy products. I would take these things out for 2 to 3 weeks for a month. I would rely on whole foods, fruits, vegetables, especially fruits, right? Like 50, 60, 70% fruits. Why? All different varieties, right? Because, right, they are your antioxidants. Like today, I went to see an attorney today, and we'll talk about that on another day too, all right? But I went to see one today, and it was so crazy because I was in there for like 4 hours because I got a whole bunch of shit on my plate that needs assistance from Earth World Law, and hence that's where the David and Goliath all started to come together, or really come together, right? And that said, I'm going to put that over here because when I was at the attorney's office, what happened was I started to get like a sinus shit, like a headache thing going on, right? And I used my cell salts for that, right? 5, 6, 7, dynamite. All right, cell salts number 5, 6, and 7, right? You can use those for, what is it that they say? I would definitely use them for about 2 weeks, but you can also, research it and do it yourself as a healer, right? But these are things to look into, right? 5, 6, 7, fantastic for sinuses. That's what I just took right here is a number 7, right? Of your homeopathic cell salt, right? And this number 7 is calcium sulfuricum, right? So, and it's a 6x power strength. Well, you can use these things to help you heal you, right? But if nobody teaches us, then we don't know. But this is something that you have to, take in bits and pieces and talk to God all the time. So when I tell you these things, this isn't going to be something you're going to keep doing forever. It's you do a certain amount of stuff guided by universe to help you be well in the moment. So all these tools you need to streamline, and we need to give you how much, and for how long as well, right? And you can do it yourself as well, but I'm giving you these tools. Same thing with this, right? You don't use it forever because health, just like everything that is God, is always changing. So you need different things at different times. So I'm getting 5, 6, 7, and I'm also getting for you right now 9, 10, and 11. Those are 6 cell salts that will really help for your digestive system, as well as the sinus stuff that you got going on with you, right? But then cut out your dairy products. Doesn't mean forever. You'll start to notice big changes if you do all these things. And just like I said, I was at the attorney's office. I started to get a sinus thing. I'm using my salts, right? And I have a bag of apples that I shouldn't even be saying this, right? That's in my bag for like 3 fucking days, right? And my sister had cut it up for me, and I forgot like it was even fucking in there. And I'm like, oh man, usually when you leave apples for a few days, you don't want to touch them, right? When they've been cut up, especially, right? So God says to me, eat those apples and the headache will go away. And I'm like, those apples? They're like, yeah, those apples. They're in your bag. They're in your bag, Lynn. And I'm like, okay, reach out, put my bag, and start eating those apples, and well, fucking A. My fucking headache went away. Incredible stuff, because everything is designed for our healing, and fruit is natural antioxidants that are fantastic for your healing, right? So that's why they told me that, because I was like, oh my God, I've been in the attorney's office for 2 hours now, and because I'm working out stuff with him for the new show, for the new future, and for my personal self, right? So I'm in there for like 4 hours, right? And it's also a personal visit because we know each other from like years ago, and we mesh because on some level, he's able to get the consciousness that I'm at, and he respects it, as do I him for his gifts from love, right? So, when I say buckle up, the word that comes in is for some reason buckle up, whatever, for the reason it's so, in other words, tighten down. Take a look at what you're eating and what you're doing, because the apples, the blueberries, not so much strawberries for you. They're telling me apricots are good for you, peaches, apples, All right, so really beef up on the fruit, but also don't forget about your vegetables, and you can lightly cook them as well. Like whether you boil them, you can steam them. There's different ways to do them. You can have salads. These things are good for you, but watch what kind of dairy products and wheats and pastas and breadcrumbs and chemicals are in everything. The least amount of chemicals, the less inflamed you're going to become. Like if I take 3 days and let's say I don't have this for 3 days and I don't have other stuff for 3 days like breads and pastas and things like that, right? I don't have those things, right? All of a sudden, my health gets a billion fucking times better, right? So, and this is the truth of it, right? The things we eat will inflame us, all right, based on the certain conditions we have. So she's just basically really going through a variation of what happens to a lot of people, right? Once we activate our autoimmune system gets activated through toxic poisons, and then people, this pisses me off. People be like, oh, well, you're fat and you never took care of yourself and you didn't exercise. You know what? There isn't anybody I don't know out there that doesn't want to be fat and doesn't want to be healthy. Do you see what I'm saying? And so when I get really fucking wild and pissed off when people condemn people because you're too fat and you're too this and you don't take care of yourself and that's why you got COVID or that's why you're sick with cancer and blah, 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 right? And they do this blame shit. When the truth is, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, right? The reason you were sick is a whole bunch of different reasons and toxins. And really, the honest to God truth is, you don't want to be like this. It's not like you fucking did it deliberately and you need to get your willpower out and stomp on the world with it, for Christ's sake. This is about habits and patterns and beliefs and energies going on inside of you that it behooves you to heal, but you don't know about that because nobody out in Earth world fucking teaches you that. You heal yourself emotionally, energetically, and in all ways that is all energy. And you work with earth world tools such as the things that I said, and you will be fucking well. And you'll keep getting more and more and more well, because this is truth of God of how it works. I used to go to a massage therapist who I love dearly, but she got on this kick with the COVID. If that person wouldn't go to McDonald's all the time, well, they would have never got the COVID, and they wouldn't be fat, and they should exercise. And then I'm like, and I feel my fucking temperature rising, because it pisses me the fuck off, because it's not truth of God or love, right? So I got some clearing to do on this. Thank you, God, release all that. Because it isn't truth. There is no person who is fat or has health problems that wants to be that fucking way. And everyone says, well, they should just exercise and they should just do that. Ha. Everything is metaphysical. You do the best you can do from love, and you ask God for the best solutions, and then you get out there and you do your best, right? And as you do this and you keep working with God and working with your metaphysical stuff and listening and doing the tools, right? You don't have to do everything, little bits at time, but do your best to work up to these things with the turmeric, right? With the changes in diet is always the first thing you can do. But people say to me, like, I was going to this one healer, and they're constantly, every time I call them up, right, in the past, they're like, Lynn, you need to stop having coffee, and you need to stop having this, and you need to stop doing this, and you need to quit this, and and you're not taking care of yourself. And I want to be like, you know what? Fuck you. That's what I really want to say sometimes, because it makes me angry, because I know in the work that I do of higher knowing things that they don't know. And what I know, which is truth of God, is that it doesn't work in the way that they're saying. Everything is metaphysical. And when you heal this, you won't be fat anymore. When you heal this and you use these other earth world tools to help you balance, right? Saturn's earth world law of universe in the physical, right? Vitamins, minerals, herbs, diet, exercise, water, right? And you take out those toxins and all these wonderful earth world tools, right? As well as sometimes you'll need doctor medicine, right? Guided by God, guided by love, right? All right. When you heal, when you work with God and you do these things, you will heal all of these things. You won't be fat anymore. You won't crave things that are toxic for you, right? And then people say to me, well, you should just use your willpower. And that fucking pisses me off, because that's not truth of God. That's not how it works, right? Anything that you have to fight to do is challenging, because it's an energy in you that is toxic or preventing you from doing the things that you want, right? So just like trying to stop eating bread. It's like, oh, I have to quit eating bread. Well, it's easy to say, just like the old earth world saying is, it's easier said than done, right? But for the life of me, this is why I'm doing this work, because I'm getting down to the bottom of all the mysteries of all that is God, because I'm fucking crazy with it. And I refuse to believe that when I crave sweets, it's because I have a problem with willpower, because that's not the truth of God. Or salts, right? It's your body, your physical health telling you you got both emotional and energetic shit going on, or toxic stuff going on in you that doesn't work for you, that's unhealthy for you, right? And so what do you got to do? You got to get to the bottom of what's going on with it. This is what we're doing. This is what we do and teach here. This is what we're doing on all of our shows. Because if you can't remove that energy, no matter how bad you want to be healthy, you will never be. Because that's the truth of God and love, right? Because you can't do those things, right? Just like somebody who sleeps around, and you look at them and you say, my mother used to say to me, you've got to stop this bad behavior of whatever it is I'm doing, whether it's sleeping around or somebody who sleeps around, and they look at me and they go, I can't help it. I can't help it. It's because it's an energy in them, that they're at a deficit emotionally, that they can't fucking stop it. That's the same thing with addiction, man. And whatever addiction and whatever sicknesses and whatever ailments you have. And it's complex. More often than not, when you get to these levels of toxic and sickness, right? Very, very old souls come with super huge magical gifts and super huge fucked up toxic. I mean, things like, I'm getting to the bottom of things, so many things, rheumatism, schizophrenia. And it's not just, a person has schizophrenia. There's all different vibrations, all different levels, all different ways that this comes into a soul and happens. Now, when I say comes into a soul, or is created in the soul, it doesn't come in literally, right? It is created by the soul based on our processing, our lifetimes, all of our shit. But they don't teach you this out here, right? Because they have to work with God to get these fucking answers, right? And unless you work with God or love, can't do it, right? Not at these levels. And you got to do the work. So many practitioners out there are like, this is what I do. And they're really great at what they do, but they fall short all the fucking time. Why? And when I say all the fucking time, they can't get to the spaces where they want to go with their dreams and their life and their healing or anything. Because they miss the whole the diamond that's been sitting there all along, which is in your heart, your God connection. It's your fucking everything and your best health, right? So, for your daughter, start taking out these things if she can. Don't beat the shit out of yourself trying to do this. Ask God that you can. Ask love that you do. Start supplementing, right? And God gives me solutions for everything, right? For just like hangovers, right? For like if I'm drinking a couple glasses of wine now, I don't do it anymore. And I also recommend that she doesn't drink as well. Don't do any drugs as well. Because really these are just more toxins. And things like wine and yeasty things like beer and alcohol overall is going to be no good for her, and it's going to totally inflame the sinuses. That's why she gets, and most people will get these terrible migraine headaches or toxic headaches, and they're all related to inflammation caused by the yeast and the toxins, right? So where the inflammation comes in when she takes that stuff in. It's just a toxic overload in her body. And the first place it hits is where she has her deficits, right? And so we just go and we work on all of these things for our best healing, right? And we do one thing at a time, and we work with God. But we don't do the same thing forever, and we pay attention, right? I get people who go to the doctor, and they've been going to the doctor for years, and they're like, I'm on my 5th blood pressure medication. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what? I'm like, who the fuck would put you on 5 blood pressure medications? Let's be honest here, right? If the first one didn't do it, how many more do you need before you get the message that it doesn't fucking work, right? For you. It's time to look into something else, right? There's teas, there's natural stuff, right? But the first thing you do is you ask God where to go, what to do, the best help, the best gift, the best tools, the best everything you need from love for your best health from love in the purest form. God's honest truth. Thanks God for that for us. So do this for a while. Take a month. Right? Check yourself in 2 weeks. Keep an eye on how you're feeling. This is for your daughter, Teresa, right? Keep an eye on how she's feeling. Start doing these things. But like blueberries, a quart of blueberries in the morning and the evening after you've had a few drinks will make you feel so much better before you go to bed and in the morning. It's incredible. Who told me that? Universe, God, love, the angels, right? I'm like, thank you, God. And when just like the headache with the apples today, right? It really fucking works. Ask and you shall receive. But they talk to me all the time because we came in here to do that. And most likely they talk to you all the time, or you're not. And if you're not aware that they do, ask for that. Ask for that. Anything I can do, you can do. Okay, that said, stay away from or cut down on those products. And remember, the second we say that it's forever, we start to think we can never have these things, right? I remember when I was younger and I smoked cigarettes, when I quit smoking, I would deliberately buy a pack of cigarettes that I would have with me all the time, so that I knew that if I wanted a cigarette, I could have one. Just knowing that I knew that I could have a cigarette when I wanted one it helped me to not have one. Do you see what I'm saying? But the second I start to tell myself I can't have something, I'm so fucking full of Sagittarius, Uranus, and Jupiter energy, right? I'm like, fuck you, you're not going to tell me what to do. Fuck you, even with myself, right? And that's not always beneficial, right? So I would be sitting there like, with the cigarette smoking, the second, I say to myself, I'm not allowed to smoke. I have to quit smoking, right? The second I do that and say, I'm never going to smoke again, and I go, and all that garbage comes up, and all this wildness comes out of me, and then I'm like, fuck it. And then before you know it, I'm having a cigarette, right? But if I can work with the universe and ask God for the best gifts and tools to get through this time, as I heal myself, as I change these things, as I work with love, for the best solutions, for the best amount of medicines, for how long to do them, and how much to do whatever it is that I need, right? Then I have all the power and all the gifts and all the tools, right? No matter what. And if I'm having some challenges, like if I can't sleep at night, sometimes the universe will be like, put a pillow in between your legs, lift your head up, and then all of a sudden you can sleep again, right? So sometimes health is actually not sometimes, but health is in everything, from taking a walk, once a day to, putting a pillow between your legs when you sleep at night, right? And it may be like what happened with my sister this week, right? She kept rubbing her one eye. Right? She kept rubbing her one eye, and she's sitting down in one of our spaces, our main office space, and she says, and she's like, I don't know what's wrong with my eye. So I tell her what? I tell her cell salt, right? God tells me, tell her certain cell salts. What was it? 2 and 3, I think?
I don't remember.
All right, but I'm sure that it was 3. Let me just ask. Yeah, it was 2, and then it was 3 as well. Right. So they're telling me because she's got all this redness in her eye, right? Number 3 is really great for infections, irritations, anything eyes, right? In your homeopathic cell salts, 6X is really great for stuff like that, right? And the cool thing is that I use it with my dogs and stuff, right? So if they get an eye infection, like my little Chihuahua beast Tucky, we call him Fucker Tucker because he's so bad, but he's not a Chihuahua, he's a Chihuahua Pomeranian mix, he's a bear. So, but he tends to innately get eye infections, right? So one of the things we use to treat those eye infections, because his health isn't at such a deficit that it needs traditional earth world medicine to break up this infection thing. We in the beginning, right, we would go to the doctor like everybody else way back when, and sometimes you need to go to the doctor, right? Like my one dog Love definitely needs some meds from traditional earth world, right? So this Kali Sulf, right? Or the number, it was actually the number 3 medicine. I'm just picking this up and reading this. But this number 3 medicine is really great for his infections in his eyes, right? This particular one was the sinus one, which is the number 7, I believe, which is the Kali Sulf, right? And the number 7? Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm using right now for my sinuses, guided by higher knowing for me, right? So I take my little 4 pills, and then I'll take them again in a few minutes guided by higher knowing of when to do this. Now, I do this for people every day. If you want a whole entire health plan, you can call me and we can get it, and we can do a whole entire health plan, right? But you could also do all these things yourself, right? How do you do it? Ask love, ask God, and you can always validate with me. I'm more than happy to help you and share my gifts with you, because I don't want to come on a show and tell you to do shit and then not help you. That's like ludicrous, right? You need to have all the tools that you need from love. But again, I encourage people to talk to God, talk to love, and then you can validate with me what universe says. But you can also go to your doctor as well as validate it there. But you do the research, because again, you're your own health advocate and you are responsible for your health choices, not me, you. Okay? And so that said, going back to Jennifer, right, and Tucker, right, so what happens is Jennifer's rubbing her eye, and like for 2 or 3 days in a row, her eye's inflamed red, and it won't stop, so I tell her to take the cell salts, and they're helping, right? And then universe tells me, because each day she comes home, she puts that little dog on her lap and starts petting him, right? So what comes in is they put that fucking salt for the snow in front of all of our spaces, and Tucker has been walking in it, right? And we do our best to clean off their paws and shit. But what God is telling me in this moment is that Jennifer picks up the dog, puts the dog on her lap, gets the motherfucking salt in her eye, doesn't realize this is happening, rubs the shit out of her eye, and then she stops with the dog, uses the self stuff, and boom, the problem is gone. So really pay attention to everything, because everything has to do with all of your health. Okay, so Teresa, you have some great tools for your daughter, and everybody else does have some fantastic tools here as well. See, and this is why I'm taking the number 7 too. I got congestion, just like your daughter, Teresa, in my throat, and without getting too graphic here, this is why I'm taking the number 7 for me, right? So of the cell salts. But again, hold on. I'm just going to put this over here and close this up and take my salts. Again, we're always guided by higher knowing and love. And anything that you get that comes in, if you have any allergies or any medications that you're on, whatever we tell you here, make sure that you check with your doctor. But as far as all this stuff is, all of it is usually all natural, all right? But if you have allergies or medications, and some stuff even that is all natural will also not work with traditional medicine. So just be sure that you do check with your doctor, even with everything we say here, so that you feel good about it, and do your research so you feel good, okay? Because ultimately, you have to feel good in your heart and know the truth from that space, okay? All right, that said, who's next?
Mary Schwartz is on tonight.
Hi, Mary. Thanks for coming.
She says she's been on a slow-moving, almost stalled weight loss journey. She's not losing weight. She's tired, kind of depressed feeling, trying to stay positive. Any advice for anything that you might think she's missing out on, or if something is off with her spiritual energy? She also later on said that she has celiacs and she is soy-free. She stays away from a lot of stuff like nightshades and everything.
All right, God, what is Mary's birthday? What's the God's honest truth here for Mary? What is the best gifts, tools to help and assist her with her best health? Now, please, God's honest truth, wisdom from higher knowing, highest knowing of love for Mary Schwartz. So she said she's feeling sluggish and she can't. She's having like weight loss issues, like not being able to lose weight, correct?
Yeah, I feel like she's kind of saying she's plateaued.
Mm-hmm.
I got her birthday. It's February 18th.
Okay. All right. February 18th. Ooh, you like a Valentine, baby. All right. Let me see here. All right, I'm having some stuff come in for you. Okay, it's a variation, basically, Mary Schwartz, of the same shit everybody else has going on, but it's unique to you, right? Toxins, right? So this is about breaking up the stuff that you're doing and doing things differently, right? So if you sent me your diet, I feel like you're doing the same shit, eating the same thing over and over and over and over, right? Like I had one woman. And not that that's bad, but let me tell you why it isn't the healthiest for you, right? Like I had this one woman years ago and she's like, I eat the healthiest diet, right? And I'm like, oh yeah? I'm like, I'm not really kind of feeling that. And she's like, she says to me, well, every day I eat broccoli and chicken 3 times a day. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you just eat broccoli and chicken every day, 3 times a day. And that's what you're eating? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's not it. You know, in other words, that's not the healthiest diet for you. We get caught in these ideas of what society tells us is healthy, and then we morph into certain diets and things along the way and habits and patterns, right? We're creatures of habit, right? So this is about breaking up your routine, doing things different, both in supplements, detoxing. Of course, I understand that with your celiac is like an autoimmune disorder, so to speak. But if you start detoxing and getting the vitamins, minerals, herbs, do the enzymes, right? AI enzymes, right? With the I think it's HCI, right? Pure makes them. If you need to validate any of this too, because I don't want to tell people the wrong stuff, please validate it with me on personal messenger to be sure. Sometimes I say not exactly the right spelling or something, but I do feel look into these things, what I'm talking about, right? So that you can research them and make sure that they're best for you, because the enzymes are going to help you digest the stuff and get better, more nutrition out of your food, right? With the celiac disease, you already have a problem with that naturally. But again, this is like a variation of leaky gut syndrome. You get too many toxins in your body, you can't lose weight, it taxes the fuck out of your liver, your adrenals, your hormonal system, all of your organs, because they can only do so much. And eventually, it then becomes congestive heart failure and vice versa and all this crazy shit, right? It just blows up into these ridiculous proportions of unwellness. And then people say, well, they have this going on and that going on and this going on and that going on. But they're all interrelated to poisons in our bodies, right? And the toxins in us, which build up and accumulate. And then we get in these spaces, right, of eating the same thing and doing the same thing. And we need to change those up because you're not getting the amount of vitamins, minerals, and nutrition that you need out of what you're doing, right? So turmeric would be really good for you as well for inflammation, right? Because if we're all inflamed, this will help lower the inflammation. If we're all inflamed, then it's harder for us to get the nutrition that we need into our systems, right? Just like when your ankle is inflamed when you twist it, right? You can't walk and you can't really move it much and you can't do much with it, so it doesn't work properly because it's super inflamed. Well, the same thing is true of anything else you got in your body. Your intestines, your heart, your liver, right? The same thing is true of these things, right? And that said, this is why the turmeric comes in for you, right? Got to look into the turmeric, the AI enzymes, and the detoxing, right? And then start taking a look at your diet, right? Change up things. Eating the same things every day is not where it's at. Think about it. Variety. Variety is the spice of life. It's also the healthiest life, right? Because by eating different things, you're getting different nutrients from, let's say, broccoli, fruit, blueberries, cherries, strawberries, potatoes, right? All these different things. So you want to have variety. Now, there may be some things, of course, that you can have. If you send me a list, I bet you I can tell you each thing that is, when I say can't have, right now is super inflammatory for you because this has to be healed. Once this is healed, you won't have this disorder or dis-ease. Remember, sickness doesn't become you. It's just an unwellness to tell you that, hey, we're not healthy here and we need to change this, right? As well as work on the metaphysical stuff in your chart. Remember, everything is metaphysical. So, balancing, working on the metaphysical. This is why we're going to have a show here too, probably. I think I'm like going insane with the show crazy, right? But I feel like we're going to have a metaphysical show so that we can help you heal these things energetically and be free of them and teach you all how to do this, right? And remove this toxic stuff in you, right? Because these energies, these emotional stuff is what builds up in you, which causes the problems. Every house in astrology, every planet in astrology, right? Because the houses are governed by the planets, right? And, and the signs, right? So all of these things are associated with different illnesses and sicknesses and unwellnesses and disorders and diseases, both mentally. Everything is God. And all the answers are right there in the astrology. So Mary Schwartz, it's time to take a look at your chart and start looking into astrology if you really want to truly be well. And here's the avenues also in the metaphysical, as well as bringing you the earth world stuff here through diet, right? Nutrition, right? Take a look at your diet. Start breaking stuff up. You're doing a good job, but you're eating too many of the same things, and it behooves you to, incorporate fruits. Like, again, just like Teresa's daughter, 60 to 70% fruits. If you have some challenges with certain things, right, bring them to me or tell me so that I can PM you, or you can PM me and I'll tell you what is the best for you. Just like doctors. People tell me people ask me for the best doctors, the best, surgeons, the best, centers to heal at, the best, whatever it is that they need. I just ask God. And I'll tell you which one it is. I could even probably tell you all their dirt and their personal problems, and it's come in before. I'll be like, that guy, he's not going to be there for you because he may be a doctor, but he really doesn't want to work and he sucks at what he does, right? And I'll tell you straight up. I got some YouTubes on this shit that's really crazy to watch. There was one with a veterinarian a few years back, and it's a little bit vile because I was angry, right? And I get that, right? However, truth of God is always apparent in what happens in our reality, right? And so, Mary, if you start working on this stuff, you're going to change everything. You're going to break through this barrier, but it's not going to be in 5 minutes. You didn't get to this space in 2 minutes, just like me with the mold sickness, right? One of the things the universe said to me is that they knew I was never going to take the COVID shot. And, and so they said to me, this is the reason this mold shit has happened to me, because it is very much the equivalent of having the COVID shot. So my job is to figure out how to heal everything based on my own beautiful experiences, just like the rest of us, right? That's a little Virgonian, a little sarcasm there, right? My beautiful experiences, suffering, right? So, and when I suffer, I say, okay, God, Jesus, take the wheel, clear this out of me, free me from this pain. Tell me what I need to change that, whether it be a cell salt, a vitamin, a mineral, an apple, an herb, whatever it is, a pillow, right? Or even some rest, right? Like rest. I need rest. Rest is super healing. Don't forget about your sleep, girl. Okay? It's coming in for a reason, this is. Okay. All that said, start doing these things, girl, and we start doing our show. Please tune in and share this shit with people, guys, because if you really want to be well, we got to go to higher knowing, because otherwise we get in these ruts of cycles and we can't break out of them because it's the same shit over and over. And if nobody teaches us truth of God or love, we only get bits and pieces of our healing. We can't get to the truth of it, right? Just like when I went to see my attorney friend today, he said to me that, he knows so much intellectually about science and how they're developing this cure for cancer, and they have cures for cancer, and they won't use them, and they won't do this, and they won't do that. And I said, okay. And he said, tell me how science does this, and he knows a doctor that does this, and his son did this, and I love him, and he's great. And I'm not debating that this doesn't help people. For sure it does. And just like any treatments you do in Earth world, including homeopathic, right? If you don't heal the metaphysical, right, and all energy that it is in your body, and sometimes it's intertwined with many different things and complex as fuck, right? But if you don't start working on that and getting to the bottom of it, what happens is, even if your earth world tools help you to be well for a little while, your shit is going to come back somewhere else, right? And if you have a propensity in you, like for me, my adrenals always get nailed and my liver enzymes go up, right? My liver's having some toxic shit right now, right? So, and this is all part of the symptoms that I got going on in me, right? So when these things happen, there is this propensity overall, and it means that there's still work to address to heal the shit going on, because these symptoms lead into my astrology or my metaphysical, right? Or my, energy, so to speak, in my soul of stuff that is unwell, not helping me, toxic, unbehooving, right? Just like the other day I said, God, why is like the sickness that they tell me, this autoimmune shit that I have is some form of like rheumatism, scleroderma shit, right? So what's happening is, like, my finger, it's turning blackish, right? And it's getting hard, right? And I'm like, motherfucker, and I can't move it, right? And I'm working with God to work on this. But if I eat a bunch of bread, it gets fucking way worse, right? So, I mean, this is just one of those examples of this. But the reason I'm telling you this is to share with you the astrology, because what I said to God is, right, I was in so much pain the other day because I'm a jackass, right? Just like everybody else in the world, I'm a human being, right? So what do? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have pizza today, right? Yeah, who doesn't love pizza? And then later on, I'm like, oh my God, I'm never having pizza again, right? So, and we all know what this is like: habits, patterns, beliefs. Clear all of this out of us, God, from love, and put the best way to be from love in place of this. And thank you, God, for this for us, from the purest form of love in this reality, any reality, and all that is, emotionally and energetically and spiritually, and in all that it is. And thank you, God, for these gifts for us in our souls and in all we are, be, say, do, and create, and all that it is in the best way for us, and all or something better. And thank you, God, for that for us, right? Okay, so I just cleared all that shit out, and that's what our healing show is going to be about, right? I just got to ask God for the name, or they will tell me when it is time, right? But we always do healings on these shows, anyways. When I say healings, what I'm talking about is the metaphysical work to remove, clear, change, right? Create a different pattern in us, in our souls, so that we change the energy out here with God. It's energy work, is really what it is, okay? So this said, I was talking to you about the astrology and how my skin, how my body is hardening, right? And I'm like racking my head, again, Mars in Virgo, Mercury in Scorpio, right? And I'm going fuck crazy, right? Going, okay, God, what about this? What about this? I get like these lucid dream states and I'm like talking to God, right? And even in the day, it makes me crazy, right? Because I want to be well so desperately, right? Clear that out and let me be well, God. And let that be for all of us from love. Thank you, God, for that for us. So I'm like trying to get to the bottom of it, And I'm like, well, what is actually happening to my body? Well, it's getting hard, right? It's getting hard. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is going on here? Why is my finger getting hard? Where in my fucking astrology is this, God? Where is it? Right? And then all of a sudden, I'm looking at my transit chart. Then I'm looking at my solar return chart. And then universe, I get called in from these two placements that I'm looking at in my chart. I'm looking at a bunch of things and I'm like, And then all of a sudden I'm led to my progress chart. And there it is. Fucking Saturn. Motherfucking Saturn. Capricorn. The devil himself. Right? Just kidding about that last part. It's funny though. All right. So it is Saturn conjunct my Chiron, conjunct the sun, right? This is some ass-kicking placements. So I continue to read all these placements of this Saturn in my progressed chart, right? Now, progressed chart is another form of astrology, right? That astrology is like the ultimate formula of God. Everything is God, and there's infinite formulas and different variations. And astrology is what universe tells me is the ultimate formula of God to get to the bottom of everything. So you have subconscious charts, you have horary charts, and and we've talked about this. But universe led me to my progress chart because your progress chart is your secret, right? The subconscious you. It's all the stuff behind your moon sign, all your emotions, right? So all of these things are layers of your emotions. Why I would go to the transit chart, because the transit chart's the now. The solar return chart is my birth year, what's happening in my birth year across the board. And then they lead me to my progress chart, which leads me to this placement in Saturn, which they led me to. And I'm reading it. And then all of a sudden, it dawns on me, like after the first two things I'm reading, that all this nasty shit in here I got going on in me. And I'm like, motherfucker. And one minute I'm happy, but then the next minute I'm like, oh my God. I'm like trying to like hide from the shit that's going on in me because it doesn't feel good, right? And I get that, right? But the ass kicker that told me that I was in the right place is when they said that there is a calcification of your beliefs. And I'm like, motherfucker, here it is. You know, it's in my physical body. Saturn hardens its earth world. Saturn is your structure, your bones, right? Right? Saturn, but all the other placements also play a role in this. All the other planets have different variations of different things going on. But there is always a core primary planet that has a major influence in your chart, right? And based on your symptoms, there usually is 3 of them, because 3 is the number of active God, which creates change. So there will always be 3, like a triangle, right? A lot of things in astrology, the triangle will point you to where the illness is. The triangle. Active God. Triangle. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right? That will point you to the metaphysical causes and where the problem is, right? And in that first line, it said there's some kind of calcification of your belief systems. I'm like, motherfucker, this is it. So these placements or these energies that are related to these Saturn placements, and I will get them for you in the future, as we go down this road of doing this work and keep on doing amazing things with God in our learning and our journey, right? I will get them for you. And but this told me in that moment when I read calcification, it's a hardening, right? It's a hardening. One of the things that also comes with this, sickness or symptoms is an allergy to collagen, which was why I broke out massively, right? to this illness that I have massively with huge welts. I fucking had to go to the emergency room, get prednisone. It was like a wild ass thing, right? Because I needed earth world medicine, right? Traditional earth world medicine to help me in an emergency. So all the tools in medicine and in the world are gifts from God to help you be well, right? But I'm telling you this because now you can see where the metaphysical is literally. As soon as I saw that word calcification, I knew I was in the right place. And then universe is saying to me, you see, you can't progress in life unless you go to the progressed chart. And I'm like, motherfucker. That again tells me the truth of God or love, because I can't move forward. That's why I can't fucking move my knee. My knee is like hardening, for Christ's sake. My foot is fucking hard. And what's funny is it's all about my power. For some reason, there's something in me that's afraid. Wonder what the fuck happened to me in past lives, right? So, mysteries abound. Working on it with God. But this is where you go, Mary Schwartz, right? And this is where we will help you to go if you want to go with us on a personal level or here on the shows, whatever you feel. You follow your heart, but anything I can do, again, you can do yourself as well, right? So look into the astrology, look into your progress chart. You also have a subconscious chart that also has a progress chart, and this is about getting down to the fucking stuff that's burnt in the bottom of the pot of your soul. That is so toxic that it's really hard to deal with when you get to those kinds of places, right? More often than not. But we all got it. We all got it going on. This isn't to make people feel bad. This is so I can release it, you know? And then I cried for like 3 hours on the way home from the attorney, bawling my eyes out. That's also how I know that I did the metaphysical work, because I'm having an emotional what? Release. Yeah. So, but clearly we keep going and we follow our hearts. We get guided by God for our best wellness. So Mary Schwartz, start working on these things. You'll change everything, and it'll go really quick. In other words, you'll start to notice changes right away as you work on these things, right? And it doesn't have to be maddened and all at once, right? But the more you do and the quicker you do them, the more positive, healthy results you will have. But don't go crazy. When you go crazy, then you can set yourself a little bit backwards in your healing, you know, because it's an overload of what is the word I'm looking for? Sometimes it can be an overload. So you balance it. You feel what's right for you. And when it's an overload, you'll start to feel sick. Just like with the mold toxin stuff that we got going on, right? You can, like, I'll do the detox, right? Once a day. If I do it too many times a day, I'll start to have worse symptoms, right? So I have to balance that out, because this is the nature of the illnesses and unwellnesses that we're dealing with, right? So we have to work with love, how the things work. And how to get through them is by talking and working with God and the tools that we teach here. But I just want to share that with you so you know how to deal with whatever comes up. And again, anybody has any questions, personal message me. You know, anybody who doesn't know or doesn't understand, personal message me. Don't just do blind, stupid shit. Follow your heart. Ask and you shall receive. There is no stupid question. I didn't hear you, Lynn. I didn't understand you. Could you tell me what I need? What so-and-so needs? But also ask God. Right? I always say that on my pages as well. You want to know what the truth is? Ask God for it. The God's honest truth. Is this the truth, God, what I should do? Is this the truth for my best health? The God's honest truth? Not the doctor's necessarily, not Lynn's, not your sister's, not somebody else's idea. Is this the God's honest truth of what's best for me? There you go. Okay, so that said, I know I probably went wildly into past our time. I feel it in the energy. What time is it now?
It's 8:30.
See, I told you I did it again. fuck, right? Okay, so anybody, did you guys like write down the questions, or you know what the questions are? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start next week's show with questions from this week, because I know when I get this information from God, what I do is I channel love. So all this stuff comes in, right? And when that happens, sometimes we go over in our stuff, in our time, but we want to make sure we get to everybody so we can get you your best health solutions and best guidance from love in the purest form. So tune in next week. We will get you these answers. My associates, Rachel and Jennifer, are fucking awesome, incredible people. And, you know, every day we're all getting more in our heart spaces from love. And thank you all for coming. If you can donate, please do. We usually post it on Venmo or PayPal, but also you can send your donations to our shop and center at this time. That would be great too. I think we put all this stuff in there. And if you have any questions for me, like I said, PM me. I will get to them as soon as I can. Or you can also do appointments with me as well. This is all part of the gifts and tools that we do to heal ourselves, right? The spiritual person who doesn't work on themselves, or anybody who doesn't work on themselves, is always going to be at a deficit. And they're going to reapproach the same challenges in different variations throughout their whole life. And then we create a life of suffering, and we don't know why the fuck we're always suffering. And somebody says, well, make a different choice. Well, yeah, that helps a lot of times for sure. But at some point, these same toxics are going to keep on coming out until we address them, right? But if nobody teaches us, we don't know. So thank you all for coming. If you want to come here in person, you can. We would love that from wherever in the country you are. We have people come from Maryland and New Jersey and Florida and Maine. And when they go to the beach in the summertime and they come here to see us, and they can do the live show here as well. I'd love that. Or when we have some events here. Right now, there's crazy snow right now. It's not snowing right now. I think it's raining, but it might be snowing. Is it snowing?
Snow overnight. It's raining now.
Yeah, it's raining right now, but they're talking about lots of snow, which is very rare for here. So I wish you guys all the best from love. Many blessings, all good things. Remember, ask and you shall receive, and have a great night. Thank you. And we'll see you Sunday at 7:15 for more.